Hi, Steve here. I think this is video 3. It might be video 4. It'll probably say video 4 on the top, or, you know, anyway, it just doesn't matter. I'm just starting over again. And hello, and this is Steve. And I noticed at the start of the last video how I had this smirky smile on, and I really was like, oh, that's too bad. But I actually prefer the smirky smile to the some of the dumb looks I've seen at the start of my videos. And I just haven't had the time. Once I started making these videos, they're just coming in hot and heavy. I haven't had the time to go in and cut out that first few seconds of, or, or googly eyes. You might have even seen the googly eyes when I looked over there, even though I don't have glasses on to get the googly eye. But you might have just pictured the googly eyes, because that's what our mind is capable of. So we're connected to our deep self. We're grounded to the healing center of the earth. I open myself to the healing power of the One. And if you really do that, when you say that and you feel it, you realize it is one. It could be, I open myself to healing power of one. Not even the one, because you say the one and everybody's looking for the one instead of just, I am that I am, And yeah, I may seem to be a monkey in a tree, or I may seem to be a bumbling bozo on a bus. And that's just, until we accept that I am that I am, no matter what things appear to be. And when I accept that, and when I connect with my deep self, and I open myself to the oneness, or open myself to the consciousness of one, I'm grounded to the healing power of the earth. I feel, oh, I'm in a pretty good place. What was I going to talk about? Or do I just want to sit in this pretty good place, or really good place? If you're really in it, it's a really good place. But if you're kind of in it somewhat, and you're aware you're making a video, at the same time, you can kind of be back and forth between those two realities, which is the way that many of us might feel between this third dimensional state and this fifth dimensional state. And if you just go third dimensional state, fifth dimensional state, third dimensional state, fifth dimensional state, and you feel third dimensional state, fifth dimensional state. And you can say, I choose to work with the Hathors, and realize they're at seventh dimensional state. And you notice the difference. Seventh dimensional state, fifth dimensional state, third dimensional state. So just notice if you notice the difference. So I connect to the deep self. I ground myself to the healing center of the earth. I open up to the power of one. If you choose, I choose to work with the Hathors. They are helpful all the time. So you state, I choose to work with the Hathors, means you give them the credit card. I mean, it doesn't cost you anything, but basically you just give them the credit card and you say, buy what you want. You're really literally doing that. And to know that the Hathors will never do anything that's not for your highest good. That doesn't mean you might not experience discomfort from time to time. If it's assisting you on a soul level to open up to yourself as one. Okay, that was all just setting the field. And we didn't open up a healing field necessarily, but if you connect to your deep self, you ground yourself to the healing center of the earth, you open up to the power of one, you state out loud you choose to work with the Hathors, you may as well have a healing field open. there's a whole bunch of other beings, but they're watching anyway. So you can go through the process to let all those beings know. So you can watch my videos on setting up a healing field, and you can say the words as I say them and see if you feel yourself setting up a healing field. And that was the idea of these videos, was to create videos. I keep looking like I'm on a steering wheel. This will help. Okay, I'm steering the ship. It was suggested that I create these videos. And then someone helped me in the creation of these videos, with the purpose being of teaching people the things that I have been taught that have helped me to heal and have helped me to support others to heal. So that people are tapping into this world field of healing. They're feeling like, oh, wow, I'm in a field of healing. I'm connected to the oneness. I'm connected to my deep self. I'm grounded in the healing center of the earth. I've chosen to work with the Hathors, or whoever you have chosen to work with. I choose to work with the Hathors because they're seventh dimensional beings. Oh, wow. There are also Hathors who are fifth dimensional beings. And they're wow. Because they're closer related to where we're going from third dimensional beings to fifth dimensional beings. But for whatever reason, I was meant to work with seventh dimensional beings. They're just a different energy. And you may as well just go 12th dimensional beings. And many of those are who are holding the space for all the healing fields. Well, they're holding the space for the healing field of the world. And every one of you that join me, one of all ones, to do this, make my job so much easier. And so when I say I have deep gratitude for you, you can feel how deep that gratitude is. You can know the depth of my appreciation for the help that you are giving me just by being present. And doing these exercises that I might suggest and saying like, oh, noticing how they change. And then writing really conscious, loving words, such as, I see you, you're awake. Those are conscious, loving words. Those are words of someone who's paying attention. Oh, this person's awake. They're awfully silly, and they laugh a lot. One person was telling me that they just really were affected by how often I laughed, even though I was talking about uncomfortable things. And I find as long as I'm not laughing as a distraction, I can be laughing as a vibratory shift. So now I'm ready to talk, even though I've been talking for an hour, but now I'm ready to talk about this pain that I've been experiencing and processing my whole life, because if I've had this pain my whole life, which I'm sure I have, but I've been actively working to release it for the past 5 days. And, you say, oh man, though, but you're skilled in NLP, but you've done all this energy healing work. How can it take you 5 days to release some energy? And I'll just say, I had one session that the field was open for 7 days before it cleared. Do I want to have more of those? Not really. Only if that's what it takes. And I would rather clear this today than to wait 2 more days to clear it. Plus my wife's coming home today, and this has been cranky shit. It's been cranky. shit. It's been like deep, deep trauma release, but it's been so hard not to spew it and just find someone and go, you caused this. You know, it's like, well, maybe they did. Maybe they caused it in another life. Maybe they were the executioner. Maybe they were the person that put the noose around your neck, because I think that's what I'm clearing. I think that I'm clearing this energy where a rope was placed around my head, that rope was tightened and held, and then a trap door falls out from underneath, and the rope comes up, the body goes down, the eyes go buggy, and we never know. It was just this person that was paid to do a job. If he didn't do the job, he might have been hanging from the rope. That's the way life can work if those things actually happened, which for me, they only happen in healing sessions when I travel back to them and I see these things. And who knows if those things, how can you travel back to something and experience it occurring now? How can you even do that? Unless everything is occurring now. Now, if that's mind-blowing, I say, yeah, it's mind-blowing. It was mind-blowing to me when I began to realize, well, wait, I can't travel to the past. I can travel. I can go places. But how do you travel to the past? Where's the past stored? How can you even have stuff you haven't let go of from the past? Unless the past carries on. And what you call the present is the past now. Yeah, so these are things. How does the unconscious mind know? What ought we to do when we feel these gut feelings that make us feel uncomfortable, that make us feel like, I've got to do something, I got to do something, I got to do something. And we feel that. So I'm feeling that feeling right now. So if you're feeling that feeling, oh, I got to do something, I got to do something, I'll say, no, you don't. I'll just help you go into confusion. You're telling yourself you got to do something, and I'm saying, no, you don't. And you're going like, you're either going like, wow, that's interesting, or you're going like, I'm shutting him off, he's an asshole. You know? And it's like, all of it can be true because we make up our own reality. So there's a saying that it's only true if it's true for you. It's interesting to me. It's only true if it's true for me. And so what I make to be true for me is true. For someone else, it may have nothing to do with their truth, may be completely different than my truth. But I'll say, well, this is true. And then it's good just to say, yeah, it's true for you. And this is true for them. And we just let go and don't have any polarities about it and don't get into polarization. Well, you're full of it. No, you're full of it. Well, I've got these really uncomfortable feelings and I'm going to barf them on you. You know? And the person goes, well, time for a shower. Go wash those energies off of me. Or you don't do it. And so I did a demonstration, but I didn't do it. You know, those things, I released the energy, but I just released them out, not on. And that's the key. You can release these energies, just release them out, and they just blow away in the wind. That it's only when you blow at someone and you take your emotional intensity and your stuff and you just go, you're the cause of all my problems. You can feel that and you can go, bullshit. bullshit, bullshit. Or unless you're doing it to yourself and you're right in front of yourself on the screen and you go, well, that's probably true. That's probably true. I'm the cause of all my problems. Therefore, I can be the cause of all my solutions because I'm a part of the oneness that's helping each of us wake up to oneness. And then I'll ask you, if you felt this tension in the chest, where did it go? And you might say to me, well, it's still right there in the chest. Or you might say to me, I don't know. It seemed to have gone somewhere. Then you might even be able to, if you're coming into relationship with your unconscious, and I'm just saying that I've been in some relationship with my unconscious, but I've really held my identity. Okay, there's my conscious mind, there's my unconscious mind. During the waking day, I feel like mostly I'm more conscious, but I'm still unconscious. And at nighttime, I may be mostly unconscious and maybe a little bit conscious. But those switch, and what I want is let go of the separation. What I choose is to be consciously unconscious and unconsciously conscious. To me, I would use the term present. I'm present. And from a place of presence and from the choice of releasing the events of the past, one by one, that seems good training, or many at once, if you've reached the point of doing that. But do it for yourself. Let them show up. When you find yourself in those patterns that you get into when you feel uncomfortable, notice what it feels like to be in it. Oh, I'm so uncomfortable. I'm so uncomfortable. And then notice what it feels like when you go, I can observe this. And you step outside of yourself enough that you can observe that state. And it's kind of like our beliefs. It's always hard for me to know which hand to move because which hand is which. It's hard. It's kind of like the exercise that I've done in many videos before, where we get triggered, which is old emotions stuck to an old unresolved event or trauma coming to the surface, feeling the feelings, and then watching the story that shows up. Well, they did this, and then when I was a child, and then this happened, and then this person did this, and have all these stories that you just want to tell, but you've told the same stories 100,000 times, and it hasn't changed the energy. And then you realize, well, just telling the story, I mean, it's nice that people listen to it, got some things off my chest, but it didn't change anything. But now I'm realizing if I take that story, it has all those energies, and I take all those energies, all those emotions apart from the story, and then I just separate them like separating two children who are just having dueling tantrums and putting them in a space where they can just be by themselves in their own energy, and they realize, I can just let these emotions go. I can let the story go. And everything can feel different. And it can be that simple. It can be that simple. And even though you may see me in various states of emotional turmoil, where I'm just wrestling with something, I made a video that was over an hour long. That was the 5th video of 5 processing videos, which I've published, process 1, process 2. I'm going to do this. I was advised to do this slowly over time. If they get through process 2 and they go, oh, that was really helpful, and you wait a while for them to process it. Let's see, screen went blank again. I'll figure that out later. Then they can go to process 3. Then I watch process 3 and then maybe publish it. And then I watch process 4. Seems really useful, publish that, but separate it so people can work with it. But I'm not certain that process 5 will ever be published, because that was as raw as I've been. I actually cut my head off from the video. Interesting, I cut my head off from the video, and I did the whole video from below my shoulders, from my pockets of my flannel shirt down, with a cat on my lap, because the cat was helping me ground the energies. And the energies were just so intense. And that will only be for the master students who are wanting to learn these processes and practice them. And it's kind of like they did a study. I don't know if they really did a study, but I heard they did a study. So it's a rumor that they took people and they measured their ability to get better at throwing free throws in basketball. So they threw the ball through the hoop and they did it repeatedly. And then they measured, how much better they got. And then they did it in their mind and they measured how much better they got. And my memory says that the people who just did it in their minds ended up improving faster than the people did it on a physical level. And the reason for that is the people in their mind imagine themselves making it. And the people practicing imagine themselves missing it. And so the more you imagine missing it, the more it's going to happen. The more you imagine making it, the more it's going to happen. So when you do these exercises with me while I'm doing them, you're imagining it, but having the experience. Because the majority of our experience is out of our imagination. So we imagine something, and then the next thing we know, we're living in that reality. So imagine as many good things as you can, and then imagine good ways to deal with things when your imagination is bringing all this stuff to the surface and you're just feeling it and you're just wanting to let it go, rather than spew it all over someone that you might very much love and care for, or someone that you don't know that you love and care for yet, but whoever you spew it on are part of the one that you're a part of, that you're the one of the one. You're the I am that I am. We're all just part of a very large network of energy. And what we do affects everything. Okay, that's enough. I like the series, and I'm going to go through them at some point today, probably after I do a little more preparation for the return of Mrs. Honey. Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Honey. Yeah. And she's the queen bee and I'm the worker bee. I mean, she does work, but she's definitely the queen. And so it be, because we're moving into a 13,000 year period of the queen bees taking over. And I'm 100% in. I'm 100% in to this next 13,000 years. And if it gets as wonderful as I imagine it's going to be, I mean, I know, I think we've got this 11 more months of clearing stuff, and maybe true. Or it may be that I'll just allow myself to be where it's going to be. Like if there isn't a past, present, future, if they all exist as one, then the imagining of that world, not in detail, but just how it's going to feel by imagining how it's going to feel, I can be living in it now. So it won't feel strange when all of a sudden it starts to appear for others. Like this, yeah. wonderful world. So today is Thursday. You know what that means? We're going to have a real good time doing whatever, processing or just breathing, staying connected to our deep self, staying grounded to the healing power of the earth, experiencing being part of the one. And if we choose to work with the hot doors, noticing what they help us to do. All right, that was excellent for me. And it may be published and it could be useful for you. And like always, find the bullseye and hit the bullseye.